Hello and welcome to Head and Shoulders, where we cover athletes' performances and coaches that are head and shoulders above the rest. And you know what? Today we're talking about Allison Felix and her chances in the 400-meter dash. And depending on how I title this video, this is Allison Felix, the love story with her and the 400. Now, a lot of people will, I don't know, this might be a sensitive topic because if a person's favorite athlete isn't ranked a certain way, they may not like that. Or if they're ranked too highly, they might not like that. And so from what I've seen about the comments I've made about Allison Felix, both positive and negative, I got a lot of people to say some choice words about me. So with that being said, get your panties out of a bunch. I'm just giving this as the analysis. So I'm going to say that right now. So with that being said, let's look at the 400. So for whatever reason, there are two athletes, ironically, with quote unquote too many Y chromosomes at the same time from Namibia. That takes out two of the top 10 athletes. So first and third ranked athletes, Christine and Beatrice from Namibia, they're out. Shanae Miller-Uibo, if the rumors prove true that she is actually injured, then she may not be at her top performances, but that's yet to be seen. We'll see. And people are pointing out, hey, she was undefeated in this or whatever. Hey, look, Usain Bolt lost some races and he still came and whooped. So we're going to have to see how she performs at the championship. I don't necessarily look at those as completely negative signs, but that could corroborate with her having injured rumors that she's been injured. So if that's the case, then she may not perform. But let's just take out Shanae Miller-Uibo for a second. Who's left in the field? We got Stephanie Ann McPherson from Jamaica, Quinerra Hayes, Candice McLeod, Marileidy Paulino, Allyson Felix. Those are the bigger hitters that are left in the 400, right? So with that being said, I'm going to have videos on at least McPherson. Yeah, McPherson maybe, but I think this might be the definitive matchup here. But as far as that, let's look at Allison Felix's history before I start going into the other ones as far as her progression. Now, looking at her 200 and 400, those are the more relevant things here. So it looks like she's more or less an athlete that needs to run 22 something in order to break 50 seconds for the most part, right? She needs to run 22 something because she's run 23s, and not every athlete needs to break 23 seconds to run sub 50. And I'm going to show you that in a second. But she's an athlete that needs to do that. So she's pretty much similar right now, and there's still more time to go to where she has been in the past. She's got about a 22 low, and that's good to get her down into her 49.6, 49.5, 49.2 range. I think she's going to be more around 49 mid, so 5 to 6. I think 49.4 to 49.6 is where I can see her max out, at least at the championships. That's where I personally see her based on looking at all of these. And I don't want to go into too much detail because that'll be a longer video. Today is going to be short. So that's where I look at her as far as the progression. All right. That's what we're seeing first. Now let's go through Stephanie Ann McPherson. Now, progression for Stephanie Ann McPherson. She's an athlete that has barely broken 23 seconds, yet she's down in the 49 mids. This tells me that she has the strength. If it comes down to a strength race, I got to give it to Stephanie Ann McPherson here. If it comes to Allison Felix, is within about 5 meters, as we saw in the home straightaway at the USA Championships, and it's a head-to-head where these two are in the lead, I'm going to give it to Allison Felix. But as far as a strength race, outside of the last 50, actually about, I would say 40 meters, outside of that part, it's going to go to McPherson. I'm going to give it to her 9 times out of 10 because she's shown consistently that she can run into the 49s and 50-point lows with not even being able to break 23 seconds until this. Well, not until this season. This is just a new PR for her, but basically until this season, because every other season she barely ever breaks that. And you can see that she's gotten a new PR. She's in the upper trajectory. That's always good for an athlete coming into a championship final. When you get PRs, that kind of rolls with you. Let's go down with Quinerra Hayes, right? So let's look at her progression as well. We're going to look at her 200 and her 400. These are all the relevant things here. Now, looking at this, oh, and one last thing about McPherson. She has basically stayed at that 23 low, 22 high. She only got that that one season for a PR, but she stayed at about 22 low. I mean, 23 low. So that tells me that she kind of plateaued and she's finally dipping back down. That means she's getting ready to go back down. We look at this in an investing term as plateauing, but data is always important. The past is the best indicator, not the only one, of the future, the best indicator. And if somebody has a breakout performance from their normal times, that tells you where the momentum may go. So here we go. She's got a 49.78, right? She's right near her PR. That's another good sign. She's knocking at the door of her PR of that 49.72. That means she's getting back in her 2017 shape. Let's look at her 220 2017. Here she is, 22.55, right? And now she's at 22.58. That means she's right near her PR. She's right there. This is a good sign for her because she's also in an upwards trajectory. That means if she can come away with, but the difference here, I will point out, is that she had a negative headwind and this was almost a plus 2.0. So that actually will influence that a lot. So I can't necessarily go off of that, but I will say at least here for a 400, she's coming in with very near her PR. That's a good sign coming into the championships. McLeod. Now this one, she's had one of the best seasons for anybody as far as progression. Look at her drops right here. She's never had a season where she's run sub 24 seconds. Her best time before that was 24.38, and yet she knocked off almost 1 second on her PR in a negative headwind. All right, negative headwind. Keep this in mind, a 1.0 negative. So I wonder where she would have been on the, what, the 23.1 something, maybe 23.2. Some have argued, hey, maybe that's worth a 23 flat. Okay, but I would say 23.1, 23.15 if it didn't have that in neutralized. But hey, they got calculators out there. That's whatever you guys want to say. Now, if you look at her history too, progressively more or less getting faster. Then she had a couple stumbles, whatever there. It could have been some injuries. I don't know the full history of McLeod here. But what I do know is that she smashed her own personal best. It's like she went from a 52.28 and then knocked off and said, hey, I'm going to have 2+ seconds off. And then now we got a 49.91. And she's had PR after PR after PR, 5 or 6 PRs this year. And then it's just like Gabby Thomas. Gabby Thomas is in a momentum play. So that means this is what I said. The past is the best indicator of the future, not the only one. So the past tells me this is where she was. She had this huge breakout. That tells me if she does, that means that momentum is there. Now we got to look in a microscopic lens and look here. That means with every race that she was running, she basically started running PRs, with the exception of this one right here. All right, at the American Track League. And plenty of athletes aren't running their best times in between. They're probably going out to things to get money, do what maybe their last hope to get a PR and everything, right? And she did her PR during the rounds of the Jamaican trial. So we can't say, oh, this is a one-off race. Will she be able to access it? Yes, we already know because that's what she did. Now let's look at Paulino. Then we're going to come around to where that is. Now let's look at her progression in the 200 and the 400. Now she's moved up to the 400. As you can see, she has a shorter history in the 400. This was not a good time for her because it's like, hey, 56.30. She took out some time from there. And then she came back with a 51.88. All right, 51.88. Obviously, that means she's aging up, going from youth to adult and all this other stuff and coming on the cusp of that, if you put her age into consideration. But look at this, a 49.99. Now, I don't know if, see, the thing is, I don't know how much this could get weighted for her in this case. Now, looking at her progression from her 200, This is going to be the telling sign right here. She has just gotten her PR in the 200 by 1/10 of a second into a headwind, whereas this one, so more or less about even from 2018. We got to look into her microscopic lens here to see how she's progressed. And it looks like she's been going into all right, she's been hitting 50-point low to high. Then she started to progress. All right, low, here, high, and that. So I don't know if I would put her in the rankings of a medal because she's not consistent enough. She's consistent enough where she's been getting first. But if you look at her times, they've been going up and down, up and down, up and down throughout the season. From March all the way to June, her times have been going up and down. So what I got to say here is that I don't know. I can't trust her to come around and say, yeah, she's going to PR. See, past is the best indicator of the future. Not the only one, but the best one. So now we go back to Allison Felix. Here's the nail in the coffin for her, right? As in, it's not a negative nail in the coffin. It's just the point getting through. Look at her at the Olympic Games and look at how she performs at the World Championships. For individuals, taking out all of her relays here, because just like one of our excellent analysts in our comment section has said, if you take out, and they were comparing her to Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, if you took out her relays, you get to see what the actual sum up is, that she has 2 more medals than Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, and that most of her goals had come from the relays, right? So since we're talking about an individual event and not talking about her as an overall athlete, individually, she performs much better when you rank her in the 200s and in the 400s at the World Championships. If this were a 400 at the World Championship final, I would say, you know what? She's going to be good for gold or silver. That's where I would honestly rank her, right? And at worst case scenario, if she really just flubs up, she's going to get a bronze. But this is the Olympics. And if you look at her Olympic performances, I'm going to have to give her bronze at best. If she overperforms that means something has happened either with the other athletes, or she has hit a PR, or she has overperformed what she has looked like this year. And we got to just look at her results. Like I said, bronze at best. That's where I see Allison Felix at, because she has too many other athletes that are in a positive progression here, whereas she has been more or less coming through with, yeah, she's had a season, she's had a baby now, and she's coming through just like other athletes, and they're starting to run fast. I see her running, like I said, a 49.6, 49.5. That might actually be good enough for her to get a medal, but I don't think that would be good enough to get a gold medal. She's going to have to most likely, and especially if it's a healthy Shanae Miller-Uibo, and she comes up and she peaks correctly and great for the finals, like what she normally does at these championships, then Shanae Miller-Uibo is breaking 49 seconds. That's just likely going to happen. If she peaks at the right moment, if she comes through, even though she hasn't broken 22 seconds this year, doesn't really matter. She has a lot of strength in it. We have athletes like Stephanie and McLeod that couldn't break 23 seconds, and yet they still ran a 49 mid, right? 49 high. So with that being said, she can still break 49 seconds and come away with the field. She's well ahead of everybody else here. And that was done very early in the season, back in April. So she can round right back into shape. Stephanie and McPherson. So that's putting Shanae Miller-Uibo back in there. That's 1 medal out the way, assuming that she performs to expectations. That's all we can do. Stephanie and McPherson, I think she's going to be the one that comes away. If Miller-Uibo's out, she's the champion. If Miller-Uibo's in, she's the strong silver that I have there. Hayes, she's coming in and she's rounding into form. Between her and McLeod, they're going to be fighting it out for the bronze. Paulino, she's not consistent enough for me to even give her a ranking and say, yeah, she's going to even make the final. She's not consistent enough. I think that she is going to make the final, but for Allison Felix, she's going to have to be fighting with McLeod and Hayes for that bronze medal. And then McPherson, she's close enough there, but I've seen her races. I can see that she can pull away from an athlete, or if she gets out within the middle of her race, I think that's where she can shine the most. What do you guys think? Like, comment, subscribe. We're looking for 10,000 subscribers. If you like the content today, smash that subscribe button. Turn on those notifications, because when we do this live stream here, we're going to cover all these events. We're going to do updated information. We're looking at this. Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comment section and tell me why. And then maybe cite some sources in there, because some of you guys, you've been coming up with some very good points in there. That's why I said I want to have the call-in broadcast like some of you have requested. It's just that people didn't call in the last time. Somebody told me I got to wait until about 5,000 to 10,000 subscribers before I should probably do that. So that's what we're going to do. So we're holding off on that call-in broadcast for now, and we're going to just have regular live streams. Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Maybe we cover Jenna Prandini or another athlete we haven't covered in the 200, because she definitely needs to get some highlight here, right? But catch you all on the next one.